The book's about my personal experiences of going through broken relationships, whether that was a dating relationship or a long-term relationship. I tended to be attracted to men that were not very good for me, so I was attracted to the bad boys, and sometimes my relationships were abusive, and it really talks about how I was able to break out of that cycle and start enjoying healthier relationships. I've broken my experiences up into about 50 short stories, and each one includes a prayer and reflection at the end. I felt it would be easier for women to digest my experiences and see whether they apply to their own in short stories as opposed to writing a very long biog, because it gives women the opportunity to dip out in and out of the subjects that they feel are appropriate to their needs at that time. Also, when you're going through broken relationships and you're in the midst of trying to figure out why all this is happening to you, you don't always have the mental and emotional energy to concentrate. So I wanted to make something very easy and accessible and digestible for women to read. I'm hoping women who have been through similar experiences of my own will find the book a real encouragement. So women that have found themselves having problems in their dating or long-term relationships, who find that they're attracted to the same type of person and can't figure out why they are in that particular situation. And any woman that's just been broken by relationships, women that find love painful instead of, satisfying and enjoyable. It was around the age of 32 I started to explore the possibilities of having a relationship with God, because I'd reached that point in my life where I'd been through so many broken relationships, and I had really thought I had tried hard to change my experiences. I tried to change myself. I thought, if I change the way I look, maybe that will make a man love me better. Maybe if I try to change partners, maybe the next one will treat me right. And as I said, I felt like I was in a groundhog experience, a bit like Bill Murray waking up in his film, experiencing the same day over and over again. And it was during a moment of just absolute desperation, I prayed to God and I said, God, I've tried everything to change my life. And I heard him very clearly say to me, yeah, but you haven't tried me. And it was at that point that I really thought to myself, I felt God speaking to me and saying, Jo, try me out, walk with me. And even though it was quite scary, I didn't know what that journey, where that journey would take me. I felt that was the right choice for me to make. So I thought, I'm going to step out into the unknown. I could go back, God said to me, you could go back to your old way of doing things, or you can step into something completely new. So I stepped out in faith into the unknown with God. I found, when I started that journey walking with God, I realised that the love that I'd been looking for, that emptiness that I felt inside, was really my longing for God. I don't believe that we're just emotional and physical beings. I believe that all of us have a spiritual aspect to ourselves, and God really started to show me that I'd been longing for love, and I've been looking for it all in the wrong places. And when I started to have that relationship with God, He really gave me a personal experience of what it was to be loved. I felt an unconditional love with God, and that emptiness and that void that I felt, which was very much pushing me to keep seeking love through trying to find the right man to love me, was healed. And I felt for the first time very contented and peaceful inside. And so that deep hunger and need to be out there clubbing or going out there looking for somebody, that completely left me. I think the other thing it taught me was that if I want to have a healthy and whole relationship, I really need to be fully satisfied and content as a single woman. And I wasn't at the time. I didn't feel very good about myself. I was quite bored with my life. I didn't have any sense of direction. And I thought the thing that would make me whole was having a relationship. And I realised I bought a lie. That wasn't the truth. So my relationship with God really taught me to figure out how to become the person that God wanted me to be fully satisfied in my relationship with Him, and step into the calling that He had, which was to go out there and fulfil His purpose in life for me. And that gave me a sense of deep contentment and meaning, and put me in the right place to consider, being in a relationship again. Well, I think the main thing is that you need to have that real sense of knowing who you are. It's helped me put limits on bad relationships, so I'm a lot more aware of the characteristics of somebody else who might not be right for me. Before, my deep needs and my wounds and my longing to, my desperateness would mean that I would try and have a relationship with anybody. You know, so if he was attracted to me, then I would just walk into that relationship without giving it much thought. Now I'm a lot more aware. I can set boundaries. I'm looking for different qualities now. I'm attracted to men that share my same values. So the bad boys, the non-committers, the ones that disrespect women, I don't actually look at them and think that their sense of control is really covering up as independence. My perceptions of men have changed, and it's improved my relationships with men. You know, I am not afraid of men anymore, and I actually enjoy getting to know men in a different way, and work on building friendships and building that spiritual aspects of our lives, rather than going in there and it all being about attraction and sexuality. In this devotional, I was talking about men that initially seem to be quite attracted to you, but lose that attraction after a while, and you're sort of left in that limbo stage of wondering, does he really want me or not? And sometimes what women do is that they end up giving more in the hope that the initial attraction that he had for them may come back or increase. And as a result, they end up putting up with behaviours that they may not have put up with under different circumstances. So things like he makes excuses to stay away, he's always too busy to see you, he regularly cancels at the last minute or stands you up, but then he's not breaking up with you either. He doesn't mind sleeping with you or accepting a spare key, but he doesn't want to make any marital commitment to you. He says he only wants to be friends, but he carries on treating you like a girlfriend. And so sometimes women, they look at that and they're involved, they allow those behaviours to carry on because they're hoping that if they try harder, if they love him, that he may become that wonderful man they met at the beginning. And so they put up with behaviours that are hurting them, and they don't set limits on it. I think the first place she needs to work on is addressing her fears of being on her own. Loneliness in itself is not a bad thing. It's an indication that we're disconnected. And very often we go into relationships because we're lonely, hoping that if we can have that deep connection with somebody else, then it would fill that void. Trouble is, if we go into relationships feeling very lonely or we're afraid of being our own, this is when we can start finding it very difficult to, leave a relationship, even though it could be abusive, even though it could be very destructive, even if it's somebody that's a nice person but is just not the right person for us. So the first place we need to look at is to address that deep sense of loneliness. Maybe we've never really been loved on a deep level before. Maybe we don't have a very close relationship with other people outside of that relationship. What we need to address is getting connected get connected with God, get around people that can show you that you're loved and you're accepted as you are, and you'll find it easier to then deal with the issues that are coming up in your relationship. But loneliness is never a good reason to stay in a relationship or actually start one. You can get the book through our website, Love in Season, so that's www.loveinseason.net, or you can go to lastwordpublications.com, and it's available through Amazon. Now, we've built Love in Season as an opportunity for women to come on the website and explore more of the principles laid out in the book. So they can come on the website, they can join up as a member, there's a forum where women can pray. We're going to have lots of learning videos on the website. There's quizzes, and we've got devotionals and articles going out every month. So we will be building on what's been made available here, and obviously links to other websites, especially if you are going through an abusive relationship.